Hi, I'm attorney Princess Woodard, a divorce and family law attorney in Memphis, Tennessee. And I want to take a couple minutes to chat about this viral information that was spreading around the internet like wildfire, that President Trump had enacted a new child support law. And under this alleged new law, the parent paying child support will automatically be able to claim that child on their taxes each year. And of course, it divided everybody. People did think pieces on it, etc. Well, after some fact checking, it was determined that this is not true. There is no new child support law. But I do want to share a little bit of information about child support because it is such a divisive topic and there's a lot of misinformation about it. So first, let me talk about the claiming of a child on tax returns. So the IRS tax code governs who claims the child on taxes traditionally. And in most cases, the custodial parent, which is the parent the child spends the majority of time with, gets to claim the child. Now, I have custody and divorce cases where that may not be the case. And typically, the court will deviate from that in cases where there's either equal parenting time or close to equal parenting time, or based off of the facts of that case, it supports allowing the non-custodial parent to claim the child on taxes. And usually what the court will do in those cases is either alternate yearly, or if there are multiple kids, they'll divide the kids between each parent. But again, traditionally, in a typical just child support case, the custodial parent is the parent who's going to claim the child on taxes. And unless if you are the non-custodial parent, unless you have an order saying that you have the right to claim this child on your taxes, you may be getting yourself in some trouble that you can't necessarily get out of. But that's the first thing I want to just put out there. Secondly, let's talk about how child support is calculated and what it actually represents and its intent. So there are 3 different models used to calculate child support. The first and most common, which is actually used by 41 states currently, is the income shares model, and that's the model my state uses. There's also the Melson model, which is used by only 3 states. It is really just a little bit more complex version of the income shares model. And then lastly, there is the percentage model, which only 6 states use, and a lot of states did away with that model. So first, under the percentage model, that model looks at the non-custodial parent's income, which is the parent who's going to be paying child support, and they base off of how many kids are on that order, the percentage of their income that should go to child support. They don't consider the other parent's income, parenting time, etc. And that is why that model has really kind of just dwindled down. Like I said, a lot of states don't use it. A lot of states enacted the income shares model because they find the income shares model to be more balanced. Because under the income shares model, you take both parents' annual income, you take the amount of parenting time each parent has on an annual basis. You factor in is either parent paying a monthly health insurance premium for the child? Are there work-related child care expenses? Are there reoccurring uninsured medical expenses for the child? And also, does either parent have outside kids? And those outside kids, you are either entitled to an in-home credit for your biological or adopted kids that live with you, of course, that are minors, or if the kids don't live with you, then you're entitled to an out-of-home credit for any documented annual child support that you are paying for that child or those kids. So once all of that information goes into the calculator determines, based off of your unique case, how much it theoretically would take on a monthly basis to raise your child or your children. Once that amount is determined based off of income and who's paying what, there is a percentage allotted to both parents. And it will say that based off of the facts of this particular case and information, let's say mom is responsible for 70%, dad is responsible for 30% of that theoretical amount that it would take to raise the child. The non-custodial parent then is ordered to pay child support on a monthly basis based off of that amount. So again, that is their contribution of what it is believed that it will take to raise this child on a monthly basis. Now, that is your presumptive child support amount. That amount can deviate up or down, and the court does allow for certain deviations, which a deviation may be if the child is in AAU sports, or if the child is in competitive cheer, or there's tutoring, or there's piano lessons. You could ask for a upward deviation potentially if the custodial parent is paying for those expenses, and they'll ask the child support be increased to cover that. Or let's say the non-custodial parent is paying for those expenses, they'll ask the child support be decreased to consider that. So once, if any deviations are to be considered, that presumptive amount may change and you have a final amount, or that presumptive amount may actually just become the final amount. So when it comes to child support is to contribute to the daily care and necessities of your child when the child is not in your physical custody or physical presence. And those daily necessities do not have to be the direct expenses of the child. I see all the time where people or non-custodial parents, the parent who's paying child support, is upset and saying, hey, they spent my child support or my kid's child support on their car note or their rent or their utilities. Well, those are all things that are needed for the daily care of the child. You have to provide housing. You have to provide transportation. You have to provide utilities. If you don't, child services knocking at your door and they coming to get the kid because you're neglectful, you're not providing a safe environment. So those are necessary expenses. So again, child support does not even have to be directly spent on the child, but the purpose of it is for the non-custodial parent, again, to contribute to the daily expenses or the assumed amount of monetary assistance is going to take a month to support this child. So that is the purpose of child support. So child support is never calculated based upon the presumption that the non-custodial parent is covering 100% of the financial responsibilities of the child. Also, again, of course, the more time you spend with the child, the more parenting time you have, the less you pay in child support, because the idea is the more the child is with you, the more you're taking on the day-to-day, or you're providing for the day-to-day necessities of the child. So under this new law, it would not consider if, let's say, for example, Tennessee has a minimum child support order that says that in most cases, there's at least going to be $100 child support obligation for the non-custodial parent. So let's say that non-custodial parent is paying $100 in child support. Under this idea, they automatically get to claim the child on taxes. No. Let's say that the non-custodial parent is receiving Social Security disability benefits and the child is receiving derivative benefits. That derivative amount could be $200 or $300 per month. Under this law, they automatically get to claim the child on the taxes. So there's a lot of things that when we really break down how child support is calculated, what it represents, that makes this law not really sound or not really make sense. It's sensational. It gets the people going. It gets your blood flowing. It starts conversation, but it's not true. And from a lawyer's perspective, it probably won't happen because, again, there's a lot of things that have to be factored when determining why the tax code is written as it is now, which is, again, in most cases, the custodial parent is the parent who claims the child. If you want to learn more about Tennessee family law, you should click the link in my bio, pick up my book, Tidbits on Tennessee Family Law. Also, if you want to see more videos like this, give me a follow.